Okay, so in the previous class, we were discussing investment appraisal and we were discussing the topic of adjusted present value. I hope you remember.
Yep.
Um, the first past paper question which we did, the first advanced financial management question, I will not call a past paper question because it is not of SBM. The first question which we did on adjusted present value was Fubiki Company. Uh, a very good question based on learning.
Yep.
That was the first question of APV. Then the second question which we did was Burung Company. Okay.
Yep.
Then the third question which we have to discuss today on APV is Ambreli Company. Then we will move towards appraisal of foreign projects. Okay. Now let's discuss about Ambreli Company question. Now this question is pretty much similar to Burung Company and Fubiki Company, but the only difference is I told you in the previous question also that in this question the loan installment will be payable annually. So the loan balance will be changing. Okay. Normally the situation is that the loan is paid at the repaid at the end of the project, so the interest cost remains constant. But in this case the loan will be repaid in equal annual installment over the project life, due to
The
which the
interest.
loan balance will be changing and the interest cost will be changing. Okay, so how we have to deal with it, there will be a small glitch, but we will look into it when we will be solving it. Okay, so Ambreli Company is a listed company with divisions which manufacture cars, motorbikes, and cycles. Over the last few years, Ambreli Company has used a mixture of equity and debt finance for its investments. However, it is about to make a new investment of $150 million in facilities to produce electric cars, which it proposes to finance solely by debt finance. Project information. Ambreli Company Finance Director has prepared estimates of the post-tax cash flows for the project using a 4-year time horizon together with the realizable value at the end of 4 years. Post-tax operating cash flows 28.5, 36.7, 44.7, and 50.9. And the realizable value of the project is $45 million. Working capital of $6 million, not included in the estimate above, and funded from retained earnings will also be required immediately for the project, rising by the predicted rate of inflation for each year. Any remaining working capital will be released in full at the end of the project. Predicted rates of inflation are year 1 8%, 6%, 5%, and 4%. Okay. Now,
So we don't have to do the power.
now the problem is that the every year inflation rate will be different. Okay, so let's look at it. The finance director has proposed the following finance package for the new investment. Bank loan repayable in equal annual installment over the project life. Interest payable at 8% per year. $70 million loan. It will be payable in equal annual installment over the 4 years. So we have to make an equal payment every year, but we cannot divide 70 million divided by 4 because there will be element of interest also which will be payable every year. Okay,
Mm.
so we have to use some concept, but we'll look at it. Just you need to remember is that it will not be 70 million divided by 4 because you have to consider the impact of interest also. But I will
Yeah.
discuss when we'll be solving it. Subsidized loan from government loan scheme over the project's life, on which interest is payable at 3.1% per year. Total finance is 150 million. Issue cost of 3% of gross proceeds will be payable on subsidized loan. No issue cost will be payable on the bank loan. Issue costs are not allowable for tax. Financial information. Ambreli Company pays tax at an annual rate of 30%. The rate of tax is 30% on profits in the same year in which the profit arise. Ambreli Company's asset beta is currently estimated at 1.14. The current return on the market is estimated at 11%. So the market rate is 11% and the risk-free rate is 4%. Embreely Company's chairman has noted that all of the company's debt, including the new debt, will be repayable within 3 to 5 years. He is wondering whether Embreely Company needs to develop a longer-term financing policy in both terms and how flexible this policy should be. Okay.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Embreely Company asset beta is 1.14. The current return on the market is estimated at 11% and the risk-free rate is 4% per year. Okay, and Embreely Company chairman noted that all of the company debt, including the new debt, will be repayable within 3 to 5 years. He is wondering whether Embreely Company needs to develop longer-term financing policy in broader terms and how flexible this policy should be. Calculate the adjusted present value for the project and conclude whether the project should be accepted or not. Okay,
Yeah.
let's look at it. So now, if you look at it, what he has done is he has provided us with the post-operating tax cash flows. He has provided us with the realizable value. Working capital of 6 million is not included in the estimate. Okay. Working capital needs to be adjusted by the rate of inflation. And these are the rates of the inflation. Now, because the rates of inflation are differing, we cannot use the power concept. We have to inflate them separately. Okay?
Yeah.
But the impact of inflation is only stated that we need to include it in the working capital. Okay?
Oh, okay. Does it say that?
Working capital of $6 million, not included in the estimate above and funded from retained earning, will also be required immediately for the project, rising by the predicted rate of inflation. Okay. For the post-tax operating cash flows, he has not stated anything that whether they are inflated or not. So we will assume that they are inflated.
We still got incremental working capital though, don't we then?
Yes. But in this case, the incremental working capital will be due to rate of inflation, not due to the percentage of sales. Okay. Let's look at it. Overall question is easy as compared to Fubiki and Burong Company. Okay.
It's easy.
Yeah, it is a straightforward question, but only the last adjustment of the loan, well, that will be new learning for you. That is the only reason I'm making you do this question. Embreely Company, we are calculating adjusted present value, APV. Okay, now let's start. Year 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So we can put the cash flow straight in, can't we?
Yeah, we will just put up the post-operating cash flows, which are provided. What are them? Post-tax operating cash flows, yes.
I haven't printed the question off actually.
Okay, not a big deal. Post-tax operating cash flows.
So this is big help, you know.
This writing.
No, print it out so I can just completely go over this like.
And if you take their color prints and then study, you will enjoy studying it. Post-tax operating cash flows, 28.5, 36.7, 44.4, and 50.9. Okay, post-tax operating cash flows, they were provided year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4. 28.5, 36.7, 44.4, and 50.9. So 28.5, 36.7, 44.4, and 50.9. So these are the post-tax operating cash flows. Done? Now, if you look at it, as they are post-tax, this means the tax has already been deducted. Post-tax, so no capital allowance adjustment and nothing. Okay, these are the post-tax operating cash flows. Just what we need to do is that we have to put up the investment. Okay, the normal investment will be $150 million, which is provided.
So you're saying we don't have to do capital allowances on this yet?
Yeah, because these are the post-tax. Post-tax means after tax. Okay, so the investment in capital assets is 150 million. Investment in capital assets is 150 million. That will be in year 0. Okay.
Yep.
Then he has provided us with the realizable value. The realizable value is given as 45 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So realizable value, that will be 45 million. Okay.
Yep.
Then we will put working capital investment. Okay, now that will be something which you need to study. Now, what he's saying is that working capital of $6 million is not included in the estimates above.
Yeah.
And funded from retained earning, irrespective from wherever they are funded, we have to include them. Will also be required immediately for the project rising by predicted rate of inflation. So initially we need working capital of $6 million.
Yeah. So we just do normal. We do normal increase.
And then we have to put the impact of the inflation in it.
You have to do working. Yeah.
A small working. Okay. Working 1, working capital.
Yep.
So in year 0, how much do we need? We initially required $6 million.
Yeah, 6.
Okay. And then the year 1 inflation rate is 8%, rising by the rate of inflation.
6.48.
Okay. So in year 1, $6 million into 1.08 is
6.48.
$6.48 million. Okay, so this is the total working capital required.
And then incrementally is 0.48.
Total working capital required. And this will be incremental working capital.
Yeah.
So here it was 6 million, here it is 0.48 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Now in year 2, 6.48 multiplied by the inflation rate is
6, I think.
Now you will inflate further, no?
Yeah. So what's the inflation?
The inflation rate is 6. Yes, in year 2 it is 6%. Then in year 2 it is 6%, 106% it will be. So how much?
6.87.
6.87 million.
Yeah.
So how much increment? 6.48 minus 6.87. So it is increment of 0.39 million.
Yeah.
Then 6.87 million into 105%, because then the inflation rate is 5%.
Yeah.
Okay. So it will be
7.21.
7.21 million. What is the incremental amount?
7.21 minus 6.87 is 0.34.
0.34 million. Okay. Year 4 is the last year of the project, so you will not invest further. You will just take out the remaining amount, and that will be 7.21 million. Okay.
Yep.
So initially you invested 6, then you invested 0.48 in year 1, then you invested 0.39 in year 2, then 0.34 in year 3, and in year 4 you will take out 7.21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these will be your working capitals.
These are net cash flows.
Yeah. Year 0, year 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have adjusted the working capital, you have put up the investment, you have adjusted the realizable value. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so I think there is no other cash flow which we need to put up in the operating cash flows. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can arrive at net cash flows.
Yes. I'll start at year 4.
Net cash flows 156.
103.11.
103.11. 28.5 minus 0.48. It will be 28.02. 36.7 minus 0.39. It will be 36.31 and
44.06.
44.06. Okay, so now these are the net cash flows. Now we need a discount factor to calculate the base case NPV.
Yep.
Now there is one more important thing in this question. If you look at this, in every question we are provided with the data relating to some other company also.
Yes.
But in this question, there is no data provided relating to any other company. There is only data that Ambreli company asset beta is 1.14, the market rate is 11%, and risk-free rate is 4%.
Yeah.
Now, if you read this question carefully, Ambreli company is investing in its own industry. It is not investing in any other industry, because if you look at this, Ambreli company is listed company with manufacturing of motorbikes, manufacture cars, motorbikes and cycles. However, it is about to make a new investment of 150 million to produce electric cars. So its business is of cars, and now it is again investing in the cars. So you can say that as Ambreli company is investing in its existing businesses, therefore it will use its own beta asset to evaluate this project. It will use its own beta asset to evaluate the project. Okay. And its own beta asset is 1.14. Okay. Sorry.
That will equal, the beta asset will equal the risk of the KE.
Beta asset will represent the risk of this project, as the project is 100% equity financed. So this beta asset will be assumed as equal to the beta equity. And through this, we will calculate the cost of equity. Okay. You didn't get the point?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So, just a second. So working 2 will be on discount factor. Working 2, discount factor. Now, as Ambreli company is investing, in its existing business.
Because normally what we do is, sir, we normally get given the beta asset for a similar industry company.
Yes.
And we assume that that beta asset equals the beta asset for our company. And then we do the formula, work out our beta asset.
What normally is given is that we are provided with the beta equity of a company which is similar to our project.
Yeah.
Okay. And then through that beta equity, we calculate the beta asset of that company. We use that beta asset as the project business risk, and then we assume that as it is 100% equity finance, so beta asset will be equal to the beta equity for our project.
Right.
As Amreli company is investing in its own existing business, therefore it will use its own beta asset to represent risk of project, Okay?
Yeah.
It will use its own beta asset to represent risk of project as it is investing in its own business, in its existing industry. Okay? Now, beta asset of Amreli company is, it is provided in the question. It is 1.14. Amreli company asset beta is currently estimated at 1.14.
Yeah.
Is 1.14. Okay. While calculating base case NPV, it is assumed that project is 100% equity financed.
Yeah. So therefore, the beta asset equals the beta equity.
Is 100% equity financed by company. Therefore, beta asset will be equal to beta equity. Okay?
Yeah.
The beta asset will be equal to beta equity. So, the cost of equity will be RF, which is 4%,
Yeah.
RM, which is 11%. Okay.
RM is the market risk. Yeah.
Yes. 4% plus 11% RM minus 4% into beta is 1.14. So the cost of equity will be 11 minus 4 into 1.14 plus 4. So it is 12%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
0.12.
As project is 100% equity financed, as project is assumed as 100% equity finance,
Yeah.
is assumed as 100% equity financed, in base case NPV calculation, therefore KE, therefore cost of KE is the cost of equity.
Yeah.
Therefore KE will be assumed as cost of capital for project. Normally, the cost of capital is the weighted average cost of capital, which includes the impact of KD also. But as the project is 100% equity financed, therefore cost of equity will be assumed as cost of capital of project. Okay?
Yeah.
So, if I use the discount factor of 12%, the discount factor for year 0 will be 1. Then if I go to the discount factor sheet, at 12%, the discount factors are 0.893, 797, 712, and 636.
Yeah.
893, 797,
Yeah.
0.893, 893, 797, 712, and 636. 797, 712. My memory is so bad. 797,
I'll tell you.
712
712 636.
636. Okay, now. So now we will have the present values.
Yep.
156 million,
25.
25,
28.9.
28.9,
31.4.
31.4. So these are the present values.
Yep.
And now we will get the base case NPV. Base case NPV, which will be 25 plus 28.9 plus 31.4 plus 65.5 minus 156. So it's negative 5.2. Okay. Now let's make the financing adjustments. The first thing which we do is issue cost. Okay. Then there is tax benefit on issue cost.
Yes.
Then there is benefit of subsidized loan. Benefit of subsidized loan.
So it's cutting out.
Yeah. Okay.
You've added all the previous recordings, haven't you, sir?
Sorry.
You've added all the previous recordings to the Google Drive, yeah?
Yeah. The recordings are of the net class time, because whenever there is any issue, I always pause the recordings. Or whenever we start to talk either here and there things, I always stop the recordings.
You're very fair, actually. You're
No. But I delete the excess part, because when you will be revising these things at the time of exam, you will get irritated that how much time did we wasted. So base case NPV. Once the base case NPV is done, then we have to put the impact of the issue cost. Okay, we have to put the impact of the issue cost. Then there will be tax benefit on the issue cost, which we have to consider. Then there will be benefit of subsidized loan. Okay. And the last thing will be benefit of, or I would say tax benefit on interest expense.
Yeah.
Tax benefit on interest expense.
There's another one.
Okay, sorry.
Is that a new one?
No, it was also in the previous questions also. The tax benefit on interest expense on loan capacity due to the project. Okay, so let's look at the issue cost first of all. He has stated it here that issue cost of 3% of gross proceeds will be payable on subsidized loan. The amount of the subsidized loan is $80 million. No issue cost will be payable on bank loan. Issue costs are not allowable for tax. So the subsidized loan is $80 million and the issue cost is 3% of the gross proceeds. So $80 million divided by 97% into 3%. Okay? It is only on subsidized loan. Okay?
Yep.
So it will be $2.47 million.
Yep.
No tax benefit, it is stated in the question. No tax benefit as per question. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have to look at the benefit of subsidized loan. So let's look at the benefit of subsidized loan. The subsidized loan is at 3.1%. The normal bank loan repayable in equal annual installment over the project life was 8%.
Yeah.
If you look at the question, the normal bank loan rate is 8%, whereas subsidized loan rate is 3.1%.
Okay.
So what will be the subsidy benefit?
It's obviously 4.9.
4.9.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's look at the benefit of subsidized loan. The amount of subsidized loan is 80 million. The tax rate is 30%.
Yeah.
So let's look at it. $80 million. Or what I will make is I'll go for working 3 I will make on benefit of subsidized loan. Now, just a second. Working 3, benefit of subsidized loan.
Yeah.
Now, the subsidized loan is of 80 million.
Yeah.
Subsidized loan is of $80 million. Now, normal interest rate is 8%.
Yeah.
Normal interest rate is 8%. The subsidized rate is 3.1%, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So the benefit will be 4.9%. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the tax rate is 30%.
Yep.
The tax rate is 30%. Now, if you remember, how do we calculate it? $80 million into rate of subsidized benefit is 4.9%.
Yeah.
Into 1 minus 30% so that it gets after tax.
Yeah.
Multiplied by the annuity factor.
Off. Yeah. Yeah.
Annuity factor of 4 years at normal debt rate. At normal debt interest rate, because it is a debt related transaction.
Will normal debt rate be 8%?
Yes, at normal debt interest rate, which is 8%. So we need 4% annuity factor.
So
Okay.
you're saying 8% is the annuity 4 years?
8% is the rate of interest. We have to look at the annuity factor in the annuity table. Annuity factor 8%, 4 years, it is 3.312. 3.312. Okay.
Yeah.
So 80 million into 4.9 into 70% into 3.312. So the benefit of subsidized loan is $9.08 million. Okay.
Yeah.
So benefit of subsidized loan is $9.08 million. $9.08 million.
Yeah.
Done. Now the last thing is tax benefit on interest expense. Let's look at it.
Tax benefit, yeah, tax saving on interest.
Now, if you remember this adjustment, I always say that the project will pay a rate of return to the company according to the risk of the project. Okay. From that rate of return, the company will pay to its financiers. Okay. But if the company has taken loan, then the project says that due to us, you are able to get the loan. So the tax benefit you will get on the interest expense should be given to the project.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay. Now we are moving towards the working number 4,
There were
which is,
two things we worked out here, wasn't there?
sorry,
There were two things we worked out here.
didn't get it. Please repeat.
Tax saving on interest costs, there's two lines.
Yeah, I remove one line. I'm making the separate working.
You can do. I'll watch for you.
Okay. So let's look at the tax saving on interest expense, that how we have to calculate it. So we'll go towards the question and we'll make a brief review. Now, basically for the total project, we need $150 million. 70 million will be from a normal bank loan on which interest will be 8%, and 80 million will be from subsidized loan on which interest will be 3.1%. Okay, now let's look at it very carefully.
So is this the new part you're talking about, the new bit?
Yeah. This thing we have done in the past, but the tax benefit calculation will be a bit different because the loan balance will change at every year. In previous questions also, we have calculated the tax benefit. If you remember this question of Burung company, we have calculated the tax saving on interest cost. Okay, we have calculated it in the question of Fubiki company also. We have done this, but there will be some difference in calculating it in this question, because in the previous questions, the loan balance was paid together at the end of the project. So the loan balance used to remain constant.
Yeah.
But in this question, the loan balance will change at the end of every year. Okay. Now, tax benefit on interest expense of subsidized loan. Tax benefit on interest expense of subsidized loan, and other will be tax benefit on interest expense of normal loan.
Okay.
Of normal loan.
So this is the new bit, yeah? New working that we have to do.
No.
This is the same.
In previous questions also we did this.
This is what I mean. So this is what I was saying. In this bit, there's two things to work out.
No, in the previous question also, there were also two things. Like if you remember the question of Burung company, you calculate the tax saving on interest cost of two loans, 60 and 40%.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is what I'm asking. I'm asking there's normally two workings.
Yeah. But one of the working will be different in this question, but I will tell you that when we'll be doing something new. Okay, till now what we are doing is the old things. Okay, now the subsidized loan is of $80 million. Its interest rate will be 3.1%. So $80 million into 3.1% into tax rate of 30%.
So 80 million times 3.1%. What's 3.1%?
3.1% is the interest rate of the subsidized loan.
Okay, yeah.
80 million into 3.1% will give you the interest expense. Into 30% will give you the tax benefit.
Yeah.
And as the benefit will be for 4 years, so you will use the annuity factor.
Okay.
The annuity factor will be same, 3.312.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because it is a debt related transaction, so you will use annuity factor of normal interest rate. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is nothing new.
So before, why did we split into 60 and 40%? I think 60 was the subsidized and 40 was the normal.
In that question, it was. In this question, the amount is ready-made given. Okay.
Mm.
So this amount is $2.46 million. Now, this is something which we have done in the previous questions also. There was nothing new till now.
Yep, yep.
Now there is a problem in the normal loan,
Okay.
because this normal loan will be repayable in equal annual installment over the project life. The project life is 4 years.
Mm.
Now this means that this 70 million will not remain constant. Normally, while calculating the tax benefit on interest expense, we just apply the interest rate on the loan amount to get the interest expense, and we calculate the tax benefit on it. Because normally the loan balance is constant and the loan is paid at the end of the project. But in
Okay.
this question, the loan will be repayable in equal annual installments over the project's life.
Mm.
Okay. Now,
Yep.
we will do working 5 for it. Now I will develop some notes, because those notes will be useful for you for understanding and revising this concept.
Thank you, thank you.
Normally while calculating tax benefit on interest expense, single, or I would say fixed interest rate
Mm.
is applied on loan balance, and then tax impact is considered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tax benefit.
It
Yep.
is
On
assumed.
interest.
It is assumed normally that loan balance will be.
Normally, while calculating tax benefit.
It is assumed normally that loan will be repaid in full
Yep.
at end of project.
Mm. Yep.
Therefore, yearly interest expense
Yep.
will be on entire amount of loan, throughout the project.
Okay. So this is normally what happens, yeah?
Yes, throughout the project.
Mm.
Okay.
Yep.
Normally, while calculating the tax benefit on interest expense, fixed interest rate is applied on loan balance, and then tax impact is considered. It is assumed normally that loan will be repaid in full at the end of the project. Therefore, yearly interest expense will be on entire amount of loan throughout the project. However, in case of Embreely Company, loan balance will change every year.
Yep. So we're repaying the loan every year. So then obviously the interest changes.
Loan balance will change every year as loan will be repaid in 4 annual equal installments. Okay.
Yep.
In this case, fixed interest rate on whole loan balance will not be the right approach.
Yep.
Will not be the right approach.
Yep.
Will not be the right approach, as loan balance will reduce every year.
Yep.
Loan balance will reduce every year. Now I have a question that how we have to solve it.
Yep. That's my question.
The loan balance, the loan amount is $70 million.
80, no?
80 million was the amount of subsidized loan, I think. 80 million is the subsidized loan. The normal bank loan is 70 million.
Okay.
The normal bank loan is 70 million. Okay.
Yeah.
The loan amount is 70 million. The interest rate is 8%.
Yeah.
Repayable in 4 annual. The project life is 4 years.
Yeah.
In 4 annual equal installments.
Yeah.
My question from you is that what is the installment amount of every year?
Well, you said not to do divide by 4, so how do we do this?
Project life is 4 years. Okay, now here is something which you need to understand.
Yeah.
Now, as the repayment amount is fixed, it will be 4 annual equal installments if you listen it very carefully. Okay. So what I will do is that I can say that there will be certain annuity amount which will be an equal installment multiplied by annuity factor of
Annuity is only used when is fixed amount. So you're saying every year it's going to be a fixed payable amount, yeah?
Yes, because it's a fixed annual equal installment.
Oh yeah.
The life is 4 years and the interest rate is 8%.
Yeah.
Annuity amount multiplied by annuity factor of 4 years at 8% is equal to present value.
Okay.
Now, if I'm not wrong, the present value of the loan is $70 million.
Yeah.
Today's value of the loan is $70 million.
Yeah.
Annuity factor of 4 years at 8%
is 3.312. 313, yeah.
So now you can calculate the annuity amount, which will be your installment.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Easy. Oh, lovely. Nice.
It is lovely if you have reached this formula.
21.14.
So annuity amount which will be equal annual installment will be $21.14 million. Okay.
Yep.
21.14, 21,135 you can say. Now this is your installment amount. This is not what we want. We need to calculate the loan and then the interest expenses.
The annuity amount equal. Okay.
I will repeat it again. Normally what we do is that we assume that the entire loan will be repaid at the end of the project.
Yeah.
So we just put the interest like what we did in this subsidized loan.
Yep.
We just multiplied the interest rate with the whole amount of the loan.
Yeah.
To get the interest expense. But the problem with this is that the loan will be repaid in annual equal installments.
Yep.
So the loan balance will be reducing every year. So we can't just put the fixed interest rate on whole loan balance because the loan balance will reduce every year. Now the problem is that we were not provided with the amount of the installment. So we used annuity factor multiplied by annuity factor at 4 years at 8%
Yep.
is equal to present value. So present
Yep.
value is the value of the loan which we are getting today.
Yep.
That is 70 million. Annuity factor at 4 years because every year interest will also be charged.
Hmm.
So the annuity amount, which is the equal annual installment, will be 21.14 million.
So that's how
Now
much
we-
we're going to pay back. Yeah.
Now we have to make a loan schedule through which we will calculate the yearly interest.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Right. Okay. So annuity amount is the yearly equal annual installment multiplied by the annuity factor of 4 years because the loan will be repaid in 4 years. And the interest rate is 8%. So
Yeah.
this should give the present value, which is the loan amount, which is the loan balance of the today.
Yep.
Okay. So these are the small things which you need to learn from these advanced financial management questions. In SBM, the examiner can use these concepts at any time. And if you will not be clear on them, it will create a problem for you.
Yep. Yep. Got it.
Okay. So if we have the installment amount of how much?
21.414.
21.4, we can make a loan schedule simply.
21.14. Yes, sir.
21.14, okay. So year 0, year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4.
Yep.
Okay. Loan balance, interest expense,
Yep.
tax benefit. Just a minute. Okay, what I will do is loan balance. Loan balance at the start is $70 million. I will write it as 70,000, or you can write it $70 million. Now,
Why don't you keep to millions?
you can keep it at millions also, but I think that you will not be able to get it zero
Accurate.
balance at the schedule if you will use million because you are rounding it off. Because if I divide 70 divided by 3.312, it's around 21,135.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not a big deal. If it happens, then also it's not an issue. So 70,000 is the loan balance. Okay, the interest expense will be how much? 8%.
Yep.
So 70,000 into 8% will be 5,600 will be the interest cost in the year 1.
Yep. 5,600.
Okay, so 5,600 will be your interest cost. Okay, now your annual equal installment is 211350.
Yep.
Okay, so 70,000, 5,600 minus 21. Oh, just a minute. 70 divided by 3.312. So that is 21,135. Now, your first year interest expense, you will apply tax rate, which is 30%.
Yep.
And then you will multiply it with the discount factor because each year interest amount will vary.
Okay, so what do you have discount factor of what?
Of just go and check the discount factor at 8%. Okay, just go and check the discount factor at 8%. What will be it?
Oh, for not interest payable every year.
Okay, so $70 million is the loan balance. 8% is the interest rate. So the first year interest expense will be 5,600. Okay. 21.4.
It's 1,555.
So the present value amount will be
555.
1,555. Okay. Now, in the next year, 70,000 plus 5,600 is the loan balance, is the interest expense. And what will be your payment amount which you will pay, your installment?
21.14.
Just a minute. It will be 21,135. So your loan balance will be 70,000 plus 5,600 is the first year interest. And
Are you
will
doing
pay-
it? Are you, that 21,135 is basically 21.14 million?
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 54,465. This 21,135 is the accurate amount of the installment. So now 5,465, 8% will be the interest. 30% will be the tax benefit. What is the discount factor at 8% for 2 years?
0.857.
0.857. So what present
1120.
value tax benefit? 120.
120.
Okay. Now in year 3, 54,465 is the loan balance,
Yep.
because now this was the closing loan balance
Yep.
plus the interest amount.
Is 54654 times.
It was
Was
4357
Yep.
minus
The
21,135.
21.1. Yeah.
Okay. Just I will edit it bit so that you can get more clarity while you are doing revision, because otherwise things will get complex for you. The interest amount is 4357. Because later on then you will find that from where this 4357 came. So what is the remaining loan balance? 54,465 plus 4357 is the interest, minus 21,135.
687.
37,687. Okay. So into 8%,
Is 3014.
3014. Year 1. Okay, I think I have done something wrong here, because yeah, okay, sorry. How much is the amount?
3015
3015
times 30% times 0.794
794. So it will be
718.
718. Okay, now the loan balance is 37,687 plus the interest amount, which is 3015 minus 21,135
is
So it's-
19,567.
is 19,567.
Yep.
Okay, into 8%.
Yep. Times 30%.
First 8%, what will be the interest?
1565.
1565 into 30%
is 470.
First, what will be the discount factor?
Oh, sorry. 0.735.
735. So what will be the saving?
0.725 is 345.
345. Okay. Now, obviously, at the end of year 4, you will repay the loan. So 19,567 plus the interest is 1565
Yeah.
minus 21,135.
Yeah, it's basically 0. It's -3, but it's 0.
Okay. So I'll just give it a revision, because I think there is some, there may be some issues. In year 1, there was interest expense on entire 70 million.
Yep.
70 million into 8% is 5,600, 5.6 million. Into 30% is the tax benefit, and 0.926 is the discount factor at 8%. Here we are not using the annuity factor to calculate the present value of tax benefit, because the interest amount is changing every year.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So
Can you just put a
1,555.
little? Can you put a little arrow just saying this discount DF or something on top of that?
Okay, okay. This is the discount factor at 8%. Okay, this
Yeah.
is the tax rate.
Yeah.
This is the interest expense.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
Okay,
Yeah. Got it. Now what?
it is a bit complex in the second year. 70,000 plus 5,600 is the interest amount. We repaid 21,135. So this is the remaining balance, then interest rate. This will be the interest amount. Tax benefit, and this will be the present value.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so I hope that you will not get confused when you will be doing the revision. So
Yep.
what will be the total tax savings? 1,555, 1,120, 718, and 345. So it's 3,738.
345 is 3,738. Yeah.
So I can say it as $3.73 million. Okay,
Yeah. 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 Perfect. Let's
So-
go.
$3.73 million. So what will be the total
Oh, okay.
tax
So
benefit on interest expense?
3.312 plus 3.73 is
2.46. What are you doing? 2.46
Oh,
and 3%.
sorry. 3.73,
It will be
6.19.
Okay,
Yep.
so that I will put here 6.19 million. So my adjusted present value will be,
So now it's all the same, isn't it?
yes, now there is nothing left to be seen. 5.2 minus 2.47 plus 9.08 plus 6.19. So this
Yep.
gives us $7.6 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
if you look at this question, there was some small new learnings that you have to deal with the loan balance, which is changing every year. Okay. So if the loan balance is changing every year, what you have to do is that annuity amount is the yearly installment amount, annuity factor of 4 years, present value is the loan amount. You calculate the yearly installment amount, and then you have to make this loan schedule.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so 4 years we were given with post-tax operating cash flows, investment, realizable value, and everything. Okay, so if I look at this adjusted present value, we are done with 3 questions of adjusted present value. If you look at it, there are some small learnings which you need to develop. The calculation of base case NPV.
Yep.
Okay, the calculation of base case NPV and the discount factor working. That discount factor is based on the project specific risk.
Yep.
We use the beta asset for the project, and that is usually calculated by looking at the risk of the project. We pick up a company from the industry and we calculate it through that. Okay, then the financing adjustments issue cost is pretty much simple. You just need to keep in mind the grossing up adjustment.
Yep.
Okay, the tax benefit on issue cost is pretty much simple. The subsidized loan adjustment, only thing which you need to remember is about the annuity factor which you have to use.
Right. Okay.
That we use the annuity factor at the debt related rate.
Lovely.
Okay, so I think that you have understood these adjusted present value issues. The first thing which we did in investment appraisal was NPV. The second thing we discussed is adjusted present value. Now there is something a bit difficult, which is appraisal of foreign projects, in which you have to calculate NPV and APV, which involves foreign currency issues also.
Okay. Is this really difficult?
A bit difficult because conversion of exchange rate, usually students make errors. So let's look at it. Appraisal of foreign projects. Okay, so when we talk about appraisal of foreign projects, now what are the issues in it? Now, The majority of the issues will remain same, but obviously you have to look at the exchange rate issues. You need to understand that how you have to convert the currency.
Mm.
Okay. So let's look at it.
Yeah.
Now, while doing investment appraisal of foreign projects, while doing appraisal of foreign projects, some additional issues
Yeah.
need to be considered. Some additional issues need to be considered. The first thing which you need to consider is the conversion of the cash flows. Okay. First of all, what we do is that we calculate the NPV in the exchange rate of the country in which we are investing. Like, for example, if a UK-based company is investing in Pakistan, first of
Yeah.
all, it will calculate the NPV according to the Pakistan currency rate, because all the cash flows will be in the Pakistan currency.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it will reach till the net cash flows, and then it will convert it to its own currency. Okay.
Yeah.
Cash flows till net cash flows till head of net cash flows are first estimated
Yeah.
through exchange rate or I would say will be estimated in currency of target country or in currency of country in which project will be operated.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Project will be operated. First of all, we will estimate the cash flows till net cash flow head in the currency of the country in which the project will be operated. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, additional cash flows, or first what you can do is convert the cash flows to exchange rate. First convert the cash flows, the net cash flows through exchange rate.
Okay.
Okay. Then you will do the third thing which I was stating, through exchange rate. Then add cash flows of home country. Add cash flows of country in which company is resident, which is the home country. Now, what do I mean by this? In which country is resident. Now, for example, sometimes there are double taxation issues. Like, for
Yeah.
example, if in the other country we have paid 20% tax, so we have to pay incrementally 5% tax in our country also.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes there is transfer pricing profit issues that the home country is selling the goods to the
Abroad where the tax is cheaper.
to the
tax is
project
lower.
at higher value. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I would say that if the company manufactures the raw material for that project, then usually the company sells to the project at certain profit margin.
Yeah.
Like, they are earning the profit within the company.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, you will estimate the cash flows till head of net cash flows. Cash flows till head of net cash flows are first estimated in the currency of the country in which the project will be operated. Then
Yeah.
what we do is that we will convert the net cash flows through exchange rate.
Yeah.
Then we will add cash flows of country in which the country is resident, in which the company, in which the company is resident, in which company is a resident.
Yeah.
It can include additional taxes Okay.
Mm.
Like we have to charge the incremental tax. It
Yeah.
can include profits on transfer pricing,
Yeah.
or I would say profits on intra-group transactions.
Okay.
If the company is selling any item to the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you will discount the cash flows. Discount cash flows
Mm.
using discount rate.
Okay.
Okay. Now the area where the students usually do error is they make an error while converting the cash flows.
Okay.
Because the exchange rates are presented in two forms. Sometimes it is presented in direct quote and sometimes they are presented in indirect quote. So you have
Okay.
to be very careful while selecting the rate which will be used for conversion, and while converting whether you will use the multiplication approach or whether you will use the division approach.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you
Yeah.
remember your basic financial management, you have studied all this in your past areas.
Okay.
Okay. So what you will do is, first of all, you will estimate the cash flows till height of net cash flows in the currency of the country in which the project will be operated. Then you
Yeah.
will convert them through the exchange rate. You will add cash flows of the country in which the company is resident if there are any additional taxes or something like that. And then
Mm.
you will discount the cash flows using the discount rate.
Okay.
Now when we talk about conversion, the exchange rate,
Mm.
conversion through exchange rate. Now what you need to understand is that exchange rate can be presented in two forms. Exchange rate can be presented in two forms.
Yeah.
In two forms. What are those forms? Number one, direct quote,
Yep.
and it can be in indirect quote. Do you remember this?
I'm gonna have to recap it quickly, but I think
Okay.
yeah, I'll see. I can see in questions and stuff.
Like what I'll give you an example is that, for example, PKR, Pakistani rupee, PKR 200 is equal to £1.
Yeah, that's a
Now
direct
this,
quote, isn't it?
no, you cannot determine it immediately.
Okay.
If I talk from your perspective, it is indirect quote, because for you, the home currency is pound. For me, home currency is Pakistani rupee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Or I can also say, if I 1 divided by 200, okay, so it's like 0.005 pounds is equal to 1 PKR.
Okay.
Now
One
that
divided
is
by
direct
200.
quote for you.
Yeah.
1 divided by 200.
By 200. Yeah.
So I think it's 0.005 if I'm not wrong. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now these are the two ways of saying same thing.
Yeah.
Now these are the two ways of saying same thing. Now,
Yeah.
when we say direct quote, what do we mean by this? Direct quote means that exchange rate is presented in such a way, in this format of presenting exchange rate, format of presenting exchange rate,
Yeah.
exchange rate, ratio of, in this format of presenting exchange rate, ratio of home currency to foreign currency is shown. Now, what do you mean by this?
This form of presenting exchange rate ratio of home currency to foreign currency. Okay, like what you've shown above.
Now, for you, this is direct quote.
Yeah, because it's my home currency is pound.
Yes, yes. Home currency over foreign currency. home currency
Yeah.
to foreign currency. Now that is the presentation which we call as direct quote.
Yeah.
Okay. In direct quote, if currency is presented in direct quote,
Yeah.
then conversion is done through multiplication.
Okay.
If currency is presented
Mm.
in direct quote,
Yeah.
then conversion
Yeah. Done through. Yeah. 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 Of course.
is done through multiplication.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Like for example, if you have to convert PKR to pound, you will multiply it.
Yeah.
It's done through multiplication.
Hmm.
Okay. Lower exchange rate is for selling.
What do you mean?
Now, just a second. Lower exchange rate is for selling and higher exchange rate is for buying. What do you mean by this? Have you ever been to the currency exchange?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
How the currency is presented? It is written like this. Like for
Buying and
example,
selling. Yeah.
yes, buying and selling. So how you have to identify the buy or sell rate?
Yeah. Yeah.
For layman, it is written a heading of buy and sell, but in exam, it will not be written as buy and sell.
Hmm.
In exam, it will be like this. Like for example, 0.005 pounds to 0.006 pounds,
Yeah.
1 PKR is equal to. So how will you identify which is the buying and which is the selling?
Oh. Okay. Okay. So the
The
lower
higher rate will
0.05.
be for buying and
Yeah.
lower rate will be for the selling.
Ah. Okay. Okay. Got
Because
it,
the
got it.
currency person will also earn.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Now this is usually an issue where the area where the students usually make an error. They fail to identify the quote. Or
And
sometimes,
when you say buying and selling, so if I've got pounds and I go to the thing and I'm changing into Pakistani,
so you are selling the pounds.
I'm selling the pounds and the currency exchange are buying the pounds, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
And
So
I'm selling the pound. I'm buying the Pakistani rupees.
yeah, you will look at your rate.
Okay.
Okay. But as you are selling the pounds, so he will make a sale at lower rate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, and when we talk about indirect quote, when we talk about indirect quote, what is indirect quote? It is a presentation. It is a presentation where ratio of foreign currency to local currency is shown. Where ratio of foreign currency to local currency is shown.
Okay. So we're not in the home currency.
Basically, it is a presentation when foreign currency is on numerator and home currency is in denominator. Okay.
Yeah.
Conversion method is division. Okay.
Yep.
And as the conversion method is division, high rate will be for selling and low rate will be for buying,
Okay.
because you will divide it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is very important that you understand this approach of quotes. You have to identify the quote in the exam and then you have to determine that which exchange rate you will be using.
Okay.
Okay. Then one more thing. Predicting exchange rates. Predicting exchange rates.
Yep.
Prediction of exchange rate is done. Prediction of exchange rate is done. Either through purchasing power parity theory or through interest rate parity theory, through which we predict the exchange rates.
Okay.
Okay. Is done either through purchasing power parity theory.
Yep.
Do you remember these theories?
I remember the words. I don't remember completely now. Obviously, you just
Theory
remember.
or interest rate parity theory.
I did this exam, FM. I did nearly more than 3 years ago now.
So basically, through these theories, we predict the exchange rate.
Yeah.
Purchasing power parity theory says that if you want to predict the exchange rate, you have to look at the inflation rate of two countries.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And interest rate parity theory says that if you want to predict the exchange rate, you have to look at the interest rates of two countries. One look at the inflation rate and one looks at the interest rate.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Basically, while doing the investment appraisal, you need to look at you need to predict the exchange rate while you have to convert the cash flows. Like the examiner will provide you the cash flows of the one year, and you have to predict the rest of the years.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Yep.
prediction of exchange rate is done either through purchasing power parity theory or interest rate parity theory. Now, basically, the students usually have studied this, so my pace in this area is of revision. While I'll be going towards the questions, you will get more grip on it.
Yeah. Of course.
Purchasing power parity theory. Purchasing power parity theory predicts exchange rate, through inflation rates of two countries.
Yeah.
Because purchasing power parity theory says that if your country inflation rate will be higher, your currency will start to get depreciated. And it
Yeah.
is true, because if your inflation rate will be higher, your money is losing the value.
Yeah. It's weaker.
Okay. So basically through purchasing power parity theory,
Yep.
the predicted exchange rate will be calculated in this way. You will pick up the spot rate and you will multiply it 1 plus inflation rate of home country, 1 plus inflation rate of your country,
Yep.
divided by 1 plus inflation rate of other country.
Okay.
IH is inflation rate of your country,
Yep.
inflation rate of home country.
Yep. This is quite a complex bit, isn't it?
Once you will be in the questions, it will become simple.
So shall
It
we
is-
just do the theory bit today and then call
Yeah.
and then we'll do question tomorrow?
Yeah. And don't worry about these things in SBM paper, because you don't need to learn them. The entire paper will be open book. So once you will identify, okay, I have to predict the exchange, you will simply open your register and you will look at it.
Yeah.
And once we'll do the practice, it will get clear. It also happened with you when you were studying APV. Okay. Inflation rate of other country. So basically, purchasing power parity theory predicts the exchange rate through the inflation rate.
Got it.
Because it says that if your inflation rate will be higher, your currency will start to get depreciated. The another theory which is used for predicting exchange rate is interest rate parity theory. Interest rate parity theory uses the interest rate to predict the exchange rate. It says that we will look at the interest rate of two countries to predict the exchange rate.
Yeah.
Predicts exchange rate through interest rate
Right.
of two countries.
Yeah.
Everything is same, just it uses the interest rate. Everything is same, just it uses the interest rate.
Yeah.
Because it says that if your interest rate will be higher, the cost of borrowing in your currency will increase.
Got it.
And automatically the people will go towards another currencies.
Got it.
Okay. So basically when you have to do appraisal of foreign projects, I will say that it is a bit difficult as compared to NPV and APV of normal situations. Because while converting the exchange rates, it will be a bit difficult. Okay. You need to be very alert while using the exchange rates. Direct quote, indirect quote, the selecting of the rate, when you have to multiply, when you have to divide. If you will be careless in this, you will miss it out.
So we'll see this in question, won't we, tomorrow?
Yes, when we'll be doing the questions, first we'll do an easier question and then we'll move towards the complex questions.
So how much more is left in investment appraisal? We've got this, then we've got to do WACC and all IR and all the small bits,
No,
yeah?
investment appraisal is just till WACC is a separate chapter. WACC is not an investment appraisal.
Okay, so investment appraisal is just this.
I think 2 more meetings on investment appraisal, 2 or 2.5 meetings.
Okay.
Then we'll go towards 3 past paper questions. Then we'll study the WACC and then we'll come back.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Just a small reminder.
Yeah, money.
Yes.
Shall I
You can do that Western Union which you do.
shall we stop recording then?
Yeah.